Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HarnessRacing.com preview show live from Columbus, Ohio, presented by the Standardbred Horse Sales Company. It's the Pepsi North America Cup edition, highlighting the prestigious $1 million North America Cup for three-year-old pacing colts. What a race it's going to set up to be on Saturday. And with that, all the way from Woodbine Mohawk Park, we welcome in racing analyst John Rallis. John, do we have you? We're hoping we have John, and if we do, we're so glad to have you. There you are.
Yes.
John, welcome in, my friend, all the way from up there in Canada. How's everything going? Big week up there for you guys.
Yeah, really big week. Just gearing up for what's going to be a huge weekend of racing. Yeah, we're excited for it. I think everybody in harness racing is excited, and it's a really, really big weekend. And it really kicks off the, the big stakes campaign for these glamour boys.
You know, John, for those who may not be totally familiar with you, but I can't imagine that too many aren't at this point, you've come onto the harness racing scene in the last few years. Fun fact about you, though, I love this. This is the dreams of what harness racing is made of. You were just a kid. You liked to go to the track with your dad there, and you fell in love with the sport. You're an avid sports fan, if I hear that right. And so now here we are. You're the associate editor at Trot Magazine, and you become one of the on-air faces for our great sport. That's the things our dreams are made of, right? Especially here in harness racing.
Yeah, it's kind of a whirlwind of how everything kind of came together. I kind of try to take the time to kind of reflect on everything and how quickly it's kind of come together. Very grateful for a lot of people who gave me the opportunity, to kind of do something that I absolutely love, and I'm glad that I'm able to kind of continue my career. It doesn't even feel like a job, truthfully. So I'm really blessed to get all these opportunities and to be here with you guys to talk harness racing.
Yeah, and like I said, we're so glad to have you. Now, John, we got to get down to business. I know we could sit here and chat as long as we could, but for us here at US Trotting, we start by covering these three-year-olds back in April with our top contenders. So we love to see this time of year how many start to really come to fruition. And it's cool to see them that they are. And I believe that even in the spring, watching these colts and the two-year-olds coming back here at 3, of course, we said this is going to be one of the toughest groups of three-year-old colts that we have seen. And I think when we get to North America Cup time, as we are right now, we start to see the cream rise to the top.
Yeah, and I think there's more parity going into Saturday night, given what we saw in those eliminations, right? I mean, I think everybody kind of figured that Blueprint was going to cement himself as the clear-cut choice, but there were some other colts who kind of, emerged. And off their performances like Light Up the World, who was able to rally off cover and get the job done at a big number. He was a little bit of an unknown. Here locally, people knew what he was capable of, but he never really got a chance to compete against the top ones because he had to be shut down due to injury. So given some of the performances that we saw Saturday night and the way that all these other rivals drew, I think we're in store for a pretty wide open race. So I'm really curious to see how the trip scenario is going to work out.
And I think that's what it comes down to, is wide open, as you said, and the trips of the horses coming into that race. And I think one thing, when they had to get to the head of the stretch there, shake out down the lane up there at Woodbine Mohawk, you never know, and it's anyone's race. And we saw in the eliminations, it shook out like that. Now let's talk about the North America Cup. It's one of the best events, I think, for the Glamour division. The first one was held in 1984, and it's changed venues throughout, but it's been at Mohawk for some time now, the 42nd edition this year. Woodbine Mohawk Park always does such a good job putting on quite a show up there. What will you be doing up there this weekend, John?
Yeah, I've been having the luxury of doing the, working on the set with Randy Waples for the last couple of weeks, but I will be in the paddock conducting some paddock interviews as well as the post-race interviews. So just kind of providing some additional information, for the betting public, for the broadcast as well as conducting some of the post-race interviews for, the connections and the winning drivers as well.
And I think those pre-race, the post-race, everything, but the pre-race especially, fans want to know what the horses are, the week they've had, and how they've been going into those big races on Saturday. You got a great card on Saturday, over $2.2 million of purses, led by, of course, the $1 million Pepsi North America Cup, which is race 11, also the Fan Hanover, the Roses are Red, and the Mohawk Gold Cup. Joanne, lots of things to get ready for.
Yeah, and I think the way the card is, the race sequence is put together is incredible because, obviously the talk is going to be the Pepsi North America Cup. That's the main event. But how about the race prior? The Fan Hanover, getting a chance to look at a matchup between Chantilly and Mickey and Minnie, who, in my opinion, were the most impressive of every horse that competed last week on the elimination. So getting a chance to see those two go head-to-head, I'm really, really excited. I think all of harness racing is really eager to see how that matchup is going to unfold. And then after that, you get to witness the Pepsi North America Cup. So the fact that those two races line up one after another, I think that's going to make it for an even better night.
And I certainly couldn't agree more. When we talk about the guests that we have dialing into the show, we always look forward to our guests. We have trainer Ron Burke, of course, with Blueprint and Swingtown in that North America Cup final. Trainer Nancy Takter with Captain Optimistic. Driver James McDonald and Woodbine's own Mark McKelvey with some handicapping options and numbers. Now let's take a look at the field for Saturday night. I know they had the graphic up there just a minute ago. We're going to pull that race. Now, of course, the draw was live on Monday night. You guys did a great job with the draw up there. What were your thoughts after the draw? And do you think any of these post positions hurt or helped anyone?
No, I know that, the elimination winners do draw 2 through 6, but I think if you ask everybody, they'd love to draw 4, 5, and 6. I think those are, obviously center of the gate draws. You kind of get to survey what everybody else is going to do. So the fact that Blueprint, Light Up the World, and Captain Optimistic all drew favorable post positions, I think that's going to make this race so interesting. I think what we saw from Light Up the World last time out, tearing off cover and being so good or so sharp in the lane, I think that's going to be to James' advantage. He's got maybe the main contender to his inside, and he's got another, main contender to his outside. So for him, he's got a chance to kind of survey and see how those two horses are going to be leaving off of the gate. And I think he's got a decision to make early on. But there are going to be some other horses who are going to be making their presence felt from the draw, right? Prince Al Hanover was exceptional, and he draws post 9. There's no way a Doc Moore trainee is going to be taking back in $1 million race. I think Dave Miller's going to get aggressive with this guy, and Yannick Gingras with Swingtown is likely going to get aggressive. So I think that's going to add an added wrinkle to this race, and that's what's going to make it even more competitive and action-packed.
For the trainers, the owners, a big thing. But one thing about being a driver, they all want to win that prestigious gold trophy. 6 of the 10 drivers are in search of their first cup. A couple are in search of their third. How do you think that's going to play? They're going to be hungry going behind the gate.
Yeah, they really, and you hear James McDonald, openly talk about how he wants to kind of check races off his bucket list. He got a chance to check a race off his bucket list, winning the Meadowlands Pace of Legendary Hanover. He's got another opportunity with the Tony Beaton trainee, who's looking to double up as well in this marquee race. So, Dexter Dunn, as decorated as he's never won a North America Cup as well. So he's got an opportunity with a really live contender. And he picked up this drive late in the season last year, Wendy. Obviously, not having a drive in those 2 Breeders' Crown eliminations, and he picked up Captain Optimistic late in the season and was able to kind of carry on throughout his 3-year-old campaign with this guy. So, good opportunities for them. And how about Ronnie Wren? Getting a chance to pick up Blueprint. I mean, obviously getting the trust for that. Ronnie Burke, homebred, I think that's going to be a great opportunity for him.
One thing quickly, Ronnie Wren, after he won the Breeders' Crown last year, of course, was super excited, caught up with Ron Burke in the spring, as we always do for the contenders. He says he thinks Ronnie Wren is driving next level right now. He thinks it's going to be one of the biggest years that he's going to have as of late. So leaving it that, we're going to look to see big things for them. We're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. John and I will be right back.
You're going to see a 500 day, everybody get 500 down, everybody get 500, get to the horse.
The 2024 Harrisburg mixed sales shattered record. Time average of nearly $53,000. Broodmares, racehorses, weanlings, yearlings, and stallion shares were all part of the historic 2-day auction. There's still time to enter the 2025 mixed sale happening November 6th and 7th. Visit theblackbook.com for details.
Want to own a racehorse? Now you can with VIP Internet Stable, the #1 harness racing partnership in the U.S. and the first partnership to earn $3 million in a single season. Own as little as 0.5% and experience 100% of the thrill of your horse coming down the stretch. To learn more, visit VIPstable.com or call us at 877-847-9461. VIP Stable, putting fans into the winner's circle.
Woodbine Farm of Ontario is home to outstanding sires, including a 3-time millionaire pacer tattoo artist who is new in 2025, the last great son of the legendary Sub Beach Somewhere and multiple stakes champion Beachglass, Meadowlands Pace and Ontario Sire Stakes champion Lawless Shadow, and the richest pacing stallion in all of harness racing history, the great Hall of Famer Mick Wicked. Also standing at Woodbine Farm, Archangel, Better Than Cheddar, Betting Line, My MVP, and Trixton. For more information, visit winbackfarm.com.
The Standardbred Transition Alliance was created in 2019 to inspect, accredit, and award grants to approved organizations that acquire, rehabilitate, train and rehome standardbred horses. Since 2020, the STA has issued over $725,000 to accredited programs. Today, STA-accredited aftercare organizations are providing placement opportunities and safety net services to thousands of standardbreds and their adopters. Want to help? Visit standardbredtransition.org to donate today.
I'm awfully glad I won.
The Hamiltonian, it's one of the most prestigious races.
It's quite a thrill. This is one of the biggest thrills.
Hello, and we're back for the HarnessRacing.com preview show presented by the Standardbred Horse Sales Company. It's a North America Cup edition. Great race shaping up with $1 million on the line for the 3-year-old pacing colts. John Rallis, of course, is joining us all the way from Woodbine Mohawk Park. And we're looking to bring in driver or senior manager of communications up there, Mark McAlvey. What a great show they put on there, up there at Woodbine Mohawk Park. And of course, Mark McAlvey is the senior communications manager. And they do such a good job up there. And we'll be excited to see all the things that they have coming our way, of course, on Saturday night. John Rallis and I were on earlier talking about some of the races coming our way. Of course, we have the Fan Hanover. The Roses Are Red. The Good Times. The Mohawk Gold Cup. I think we're also going to be coming our way. We're going to talk about the All Stakes Pick 5. So make sure you stay with us. We have our handicapping numbers, Mark McAlvey, John Rallis, and myself, our best bets, and of course our North America Cup picks. So we hope you're getting excited for the North America Cup, as we certainly are. Okay, and they are telling me that we have Mark McAlvey joining John and I. Mark, are you with us? There we are, all three of us.
How's everybody today?
Hey, Mark, good to see you, my friend. What's going on?
I mean, just a busy week, as John can attest to, right? I mean, coming up on Saturday, it's the big night.
We can see him, but okay.
Oh, we can't hear me. How about now? You guys got me?
Guys, I can't hear Mark. Okay. Okay, we're trying to hear Mark. Mark, let's try this again. I know you were going there. John, can you hear Mark?
I can go join John.
I can't hear either of them.
John, I'm coming to see you.
Mark is on the move. Look at all of the decorations in the back there, getting ready for North America Cup weekend. Okay, hold on. Mark, are you with me? There, Mark, I hear you.
Oh, you can hear me now. I was just about to John.
I can hear you. Okay. There we go. Now we have service. Hey, this is, quite a big feat. I'm here in Columbus, Ohio. You guys are up there, and we're live. So this is how we're doing it, right?
Exactly.
Mark, thank you so much for being with us. Now that we can hear you, I know you had a lot to say there early. Can we get a repeat? And what a good show you guys put up on Saturday night. I know you're getting excited.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, looking out right now, there's tents going up, lots of umbrellas out on the apron with all the picnic tables. The dining room just behind me, it's going to be packed. We're going to have about 500 people up here enjoying a buffet dinner, and our other restaurants will be going. It's a fun night. It's a lot of work, as people know, especially those that work on the racetrack side of things. But, as much as we're putting in the long hours, we know that's the same for all the horsemen and women out there who are putting in their hours and getting their horse to a spot like they would be on Saturday night. So this is what we're in the business for and looking forward to it.
Mark, I just want to say, John, before I let you chime in, great work on that draw on Monday. I thought it was wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, we got some good feedback to that, and it's an opportunity to recognize those that are in the race. I mean, it's a big accomplishment just to get into the field of 10, and we like to put on an event there for all of our owners, trainers, grooms. It was a good turnout, and it's something that we're looking forward to doing later this year when the Breeders' Crown comes up here. We're going to have a big event for that. There'll be more details, but looking forward to hosting all the participants at a draw in the days leading up.
Oh, and I'll be excited to come up there. We'll be there actually live in person for the Breeders' Crown. Yeah. So we're live today, but we won't be in Ohio. We'll be up there with you. Now, John, you and Mark will be collaborating, doing some things up there on Saturday. John's got a big smile on his face, Mark, and he said he's, by talking to him, he's been really excited to be a part of the Woodbine Mohawk team.
Yeah, John does a great job, and I can see him right over to the left of where I'm looking here right now. So he's pulling a little double duty. He's on the simulcast tonight, but he's a great contributor to the team here.
Well, I'm so glad that we could have him. Hey, real quick, I want to ask you, what's your favorite pass North America Cup?
That's a good question. I think probably Some Beach Somewhere, just because it's the loudest I've ever heard Mohawk. Okay. That race, I went up to the roof to watch it, actually, because the apron was so packed. I think I was like 15 years old, and you're kind of in the height of your fandom as a young racing fan, where you really start to understand things and the magnitude of that moment, and watching what was Canada's horse come and win the Cruiser won, and that was such a big moment for the Pinsky family, and them coming down to the wire in a mad finish there at Woodbine. Frank Salee gave a great call. That one sticks out for sure. But I mean, just something about Some Beach Somewhere that night, and the crowd here. I mean, there was 10,000 plus. The apron here, it's a good size. It's not the biggest you're ever going to see in harness racing, but I mean, you couldn't move that evening. So it was awesome.
Mark, when we talk about the other races on the card for Saturday night, of course, other than the Race 11, the North America Cup, what other races are you really excited to see? And John, I'm sure there's other ones for you as well.
Yeah, I'll go to you, John, in a second here on this, because maybe we'll have the same answer. I don't know, but I think the showdown in the Van Hanover between Mickey and Minnie and Chantilly, that's so intriguing. There's one thing about our stakes program here at Mohawk is that, for a horse like Chantilly and being Ontario sired, she didn't have to leave here last year. And I know for a lot of people, they want to see those horses eventually prove themselves in the Grand Circuit. Her owner, George Millar, told me earlier this week, she's got nothing left to prove because she's already a horse of the year in Canada. She's undefeated at this point. But I think as racing fans, this is a matchup we've anticipated. The best from the U.S. versus the best from Canada. No disrespect to the other 8 horses in that race, but everyone's talking about 2 of them. And I'm looking forward to that showdown between Chantilly and Mickey and Minnie. And I think Chantilly's schedule kind of lines up that we won't see her head to the U.S. too often. If maybe only once is kind of being talked about. But with Breeders' Crown here, they can keep her at home. So hopefully we see a great showdown, and maybe we get a rematch down the road, because whoever comes out on the losing side of things is certainly going to be owed a good opportunity looking ahead.
John, I'm sure you have a couple races you want to add in there as well. And I think you guys know where my love lies when it comes to Chantilly and Mickey and Minnie, but that's okay. And you guys, of course, are going to stay up there with Team Canada. But for me, but we're going to talk more about that. John, anything you want to add as far as races for you? Rich, I can't hear him. Rich, I can't hear him. Tell him I can't hear him. Well, guys, let's move along here. Let's take a look at, we wanted to talk about the Pick 5, the All-Stakes Pick 5. It starts in race 7 through 11. And, of course, a great card there for those couple races, those 5 races. For me, starting off there in race 7, if we're going to get a look at our tickets as we... 1, 5, and 6, led by Irvin. Hanover, of course, comes out of that Cam Luck. Raced really, really well. I know he was second place first, but he still raced good. I think with the rail in here at 4-1, he's going to be a little bit of a price. Of course, with Nijinsky, raced really well last week, and Brew Hanover in search of 5 or 6 in a row in here. Moving on to the third leg is the 4. I single here the colt Emoticon Legacy. I just love this colt. I think he's worth a single in here, capable of repeating. And of search, he's of course in search of 6 in a row in here. Moving on to the 10th race here for me, 3-5, of course, Chantilly and Mickey and Minnie's. We talked these two fillies going to battle it out in here. As you said, there are 8 other fillies in here, but I think it's going to come down to these two. 3-5 for me, of course, going for the 5, Mickey and Minnie. And to finish it out in the last leg, of course, the $1 million North American Cup for me, 4, 5, 6, 9. I had to go 4 deep in here, led by the 4, Blueprint. John, we'll start with you. Go ahead and run through your ticket here. Who do you like?
I'm going to go deep in the Mare's Trot. In the Armbro Flight, I'm going to go 4 deep. I'm going to go all in on Oakwood Arden. I think that Oakwood Arden is maybe going to be a little bit of a value player here in that Mohawk Gold Cup. I think there's a lot of speed that could shape out. I like the fact that he's got an inside draw, and I think it could be a benefit for him. I'm going to go 2 deep in the Good Times Final. Emoticon Legacy and Landing on Time. I think those are, the way they drew. I think both horses are logical contenders given their, their efforts in the elimination. And for me, it's either you go one or the other. In the Fan Hanover, I think that there's both Mickey and Minnie and Chantilly have a chance, but I'm going to go all in on Chantilly and use her as a single. And in the Pepsi North America Cup Final, I'm going to go Blueprint and Light Up the World. I think Blueprint still has shown that he's the best colt, 3-year-old pacing colt in North America, but I just have so much respect for that effort that Light Up the World showed. And you know what? I have respect for a lot of the efforts a lot of those colts have shown, but I'm going to go just 2 deep in race number 11.
John, what are you trying to do? Make Mark and I look like heavy spenders here. $3.20 for you on a $16 play, but a $3.20 on a 20-cent play in here. So he's balling on a budget there, John. So hats off to you. Mark, go ahead. Run through your ticket here. You got a $96 play and a $19.20 for the 20-cent play. Mark, go ahead and run through your ticket, please.
Yeah, looking at the ticket there, kind of echo some of the thoughts that John mentioned. Looking at that first race, though, we all line up the exact same, at least John and I do. And you agree there, Wendy. You got to spread a little bit in that Armbro Flight. The Swanstead trainees, for me, you got to be all over them. And especially like a Call Me Goo to take another step forward after getting her first start under her belt last week. Moving on, though, the Mohawk Gold Cup's always one of my favorite races of the year. It's our only invite pace of the year. Brew Hanover, I think, could just probably roll and maybe steamroll this group. But Nijinsky, you've got to give respect to. In a couple of starts now at 4, he's looked pretty good. And the kind of progression you're going to expect to see. I mean, the last time out in the Graduate, I thought kind of really showing why he was one of the best 3-year-olds last year. As we move on, the Good Times Landing on Time. I know John mentioned that horse. That's one that I think they really want to see what he is made of. And this is kind of a proving ground for him to whether or not he goes on to some bigger Grand Circuit stakes this year. But a Emoticon Legacy will be tough to beat. As we continue on, looking at the card there, Chantilly, Mickey and Minnie, that's enough said there. And I know we'll talk about the NA Cup here in a second, but Prince Hal Hanover's one I want to throw a little love to because, he nearly reached up. I think he's the kind of horse that is maybe going to be one that shows up in all the big dances all year, and maybe he doesn't ever get that huge victory, but he's certainly got the talent.
Mark, thank you so much. I think that's going to a very good ticket spread out as well. Moving on to the best bets here. I want to put together some best bets. For me, it went to race 4, number 2, Out of Ice, 7-2 morning line here. Jody Jameson doing the driving for Dad Carl here. Giant last start coming off the judges scratch there. We're going to throw that out. We're going to go back to 2 starts there on May 30th. I think this colt was meant to do bigger things. I think he's going to be very good in here. Post 2, I think, puts him in a good spot. Best bet for me, race 4, the 2, Out of Ice. John, who do you like here for your best bet?
I love Angostura Hanover in race number 2. I thought that was a really good effort in the fillies and Mares Preferred last time out. And the last time we saw her at this level, she was a first over winner, and she did it with ease. So I'm hoping that the class drop can replicate a similar performance and one that I'm going to be going all in on.
And Mark, moving on to you, your best bet for the night?
Yeah, sorry, Wendy, they're just having a little connection issue there, but As John mentioned, his talk there of the race he's looking, and that's why John's a sharp horse player, right? He's finding everything on the card here Saturday night. There's 13 races, not just talking about those stakes races there. At this point, I'm looking ahead to the card, and I think I submitted a best bet to you guys, but I can't even remember off the top of my head. That's how much it doesn't mean to me. I shouldn't say it doesn't mean to me, but
Brew
that's how
Hanover. You went with Brew
what's
Hanover.
going on. Who was my best bet?
8th race.
Brew Hanover. That's right. Okay.
Brew
Thanks. John's
Hanover.
just to my left.
Brew Hanover. Yep.
Hey, we got a lot running through my head. Brew
Dave
Hanover.
McNair,
He's
so
going to be
Brew
good.
Hanover. That's okay. That's okay. We'll let it slide. There we are. The graphics on there. And then, of course, moving on, our North America Cup picks. For me, no surprise here. I'm going to go a little chalky here. Blueprint for me. John, where are you going? Oh, there they are, right there on the screen. John, go ahead. For you, Blueprint, and Mark, for you, the 5, Light Up the World.
Yep. Yeah, Light Up the World for me. The thing I'm thinking in this race, and I know John will probably touch on it a little bit, is the crew's coming into work tonight. Thomas, how you doing? Light Up the World last week. He rolls into what is just hot fractions and everybody kind of coming back to him, but he still did it with plenty of authority down the lane, 26 seconds home. I know we're all looking at the outside of the gate, Prince Hal Hanover and Madden Oaks, and thinking, especially the 10 horse, I mean, it's got to be full send, doesn't it? I think a lot of people are anticipating that. Just hoping it's hot fractions set up for him. I think, maybe we'll hear from James later on, but I think he's the kind of driver that, in these big races and having won many of them, you can be patient and have trust that it could work out for you. So I'll go with Light Up the World in the Cup.
Well, Mark, thank you so much. We have to let you go. We got a guy by the name of trainer Ron Burke waiting in the wings to get on here. But, Mark, thank you so much for your time. You guys do such a great job up there, and we appreciate you stopping by. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. John and I will be right back with trainer Ron Burke.
I'm awful glad I won.
The Hamiltonian, it's one of the most prestigious races.
It's quite a thrill. It's one of the biggest thrills of my life.
We delivered. The horse delivered. It was amazing. I can't believe it.
I am stunned. I'm absolutely stunned.
This is obviously the pinnacle.
It's just something that I can't explain.
This is just an absolute dream come true.
It feels good now, but I'm sure it's going to feel even better tomorrow.
For me to do it, this is my moment.
I might have got a little excited.
Winbag Farm of Ontario is home to outstanding sires, including a 3-time millionaire pacer tattoo artist who is new in 2025, the last great son of the legendary Sub Beach Somewhere and multiple stakes champion Beachglass, Meadowlands Pace and Ontario Sire Stakes champion Lawless Shadow, and the richest pacing stallion in all of harness racing history, the great Hall of Famer Mick Wicked. Also standing at Winbag Farm, Archangel, Better Than Cheddar, Betting Line, My MVP, and Trixton. For more information, visit winbagfarm.com.
We are athletes. We are drivers. We are caretakers.
Columbus, Ohio, joined by John Rallis from Woodbine Mohawk Park and trainer Ron Burke. Ronnie, so good to have you with us. Where are you tuning in from?
I'm actually in my office at home in Pittsburgh, Canonsburg, so I'm home.
Oh, well, it's hard to think that you're not out and about, but we're so glad to have you with us all the way from there. And, I know it's crazy busy for you this week, so when will you be heading up to Canada?
I won't go till Saturday. The Colts and everybody will leave Friday and go right into retention. But, I won't even go up till Saturday.
Oh, well, hopefully we'll Congratulations on the two colts making the Cup final on Saturday. Now, I know when we caught up with you in the spring, you've had high hopes for all of the colts, right? And it is so glad, of course, no surprise. We have congratulations making the final from the eliminations last week. Of course, we have Swingtown and Blueprint. How do you think they came out of it?
They seem good. Both of them seem good. I don't think, Blueprint got quite as stressed as Swingtown did in his elimination, but, both of them are, fresh and ready, and I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Let's go back to 2014. You were winner with J.K. Enderman-Era for the Three Brothers stable. Heck, that was 11 years ago. Time seems to go by so fast, right? A lot has happened since then, but take us back to that day. If you can remember, you've had a lot of winners since then, but winning that North America Cup, how'd you feel back then?
Yeah, no, that was a different scenario. We didn't go into the race off a good elimination. Basically, we had to throw everything at the wall and hope, and we changed all the equipment around, and the horse came up big and acted like the horse we thought he was and won. So, that was very cool for me, but that was not expected. This one,
Now, when we talk about the Cups, of course, you said that was a bit of a surprise. But, of course, going into Saturday, you have the 7-5 morning line favorite in Blueprint. The colt is just super sharp. I think we're yet to see all that he has to offer. But when you're going into a race like this, right, if you can look back over the last couple years, that was 10 years ago, is there any Cups that you really thought you could win that you didn't?
Yeah, obviously, Sweet Lou, we went in thinking, that we had a good spot. And, we ended up in a horrible spot. And it was just the start of a bad 3-year-old year. So, I'm not trying to repeat that process with this colt.
Now, when you think about the North America Cup, where do you think it stacks up as far as races each year that you aim to win?
I was thinking about this. The true Triple Crown anymore is the Meadowlands Pace and the Jug. At least that's my Triple Crown. So, those are the three races I'm trying to win, with a 3-year-old colt. So that would be, it's number one step of the 3-step process.
And, of course, we can't forget about the Adios, the hometown race. We know you always love to win that race as well.
Well, yeah, that's Mark's one and only Triple Crown. Pretty much we could race none of them anywhere else but just there, and he's happy with that. So, but, for me too, that's home. But, when the rest of the world looks at it, it's those three major races that are, they're the hardest to win too. Everybody seems to show up for them three.
Now, do we still have John? We had John, and now we lost him. I was going to let him chime in here, but we'll wait. Okay, John, we'll wait to get John back. But let's talk about Blueprint draws the 4 and Swingtown with the 7. Are you happy how the draw came out Monday?
Yeah, obviously, I knew Blueprint was probably getting a good position, and he ended up with, to me, probably the best position. He's inside the other two winners. So, he can hit whatever he does affects what they can do. And then
we are owners. We are trainers.
When we think about Blueprint's elimination there, it was just on the screen. I don't know if we're going to be able to keep it up. When he come down, it looked like at the head of the stretch, he looked like he was an easy winner. But then you saw Prince Hal Hanover coming. Ronnie was like, oh, no, tap, tap. But it looked like Blueprint just hit another gear. And I remember you telling me about that in the spring. This colt just goes, whatever you ask for him, he's just waiting to ask, to go with whatever you want him to do.
Yeah, if you watch the pace out, them two horses hooked up and still kept going around the turn equal. I asked Ronnie, did you have left? He said, yeah, I had pace left, but so did David. So that I just think Ronnie was a little surprised that David could back out that easily and get him going that fast, But then when he felt him, he asked him and the horse, dug. So that doesn't bother me. I like rather the horse finish like that where he wasn't fully extended than, on his tongue tired.
Now, we talked about Ronnie Wren Jr., of course, at the beginning in the spring there as well. You think this is the best? You said this is the best that he's been driving. You look for him to have a big year. Making this move in the eliminations we're seeing, he made a big move here. He made the right move. I think we're going to see big things with him and Blueprint. And I think he's ready to handle a task like Saturday night.
Yeah, that's the nice thing, honestly. The one thing with Ronnie Drive, this, you can throw all the statistics out because he doesn't really have a style that he's going to race there. It's not like he knows the way the races go, so he's going to race the colt the way it seems best for the colt. And I think that is the best way for him to race anyhow. So I have all the faith in Ronnie. No, it seems like no too big for him. And I don't have any doubt that he'll handle the pressure.
They tell me we have John back. I would like to see. Oh, there you are, John. Okay, John's back. Sorry, we're having, this is a lot going on down here, but we're doing our best, so bear with us, please. John, you have Ronnie. It's your turn. Go ahead. Fire away.
Yeah, I couldn't hear everything you were saying, Ronnie, so forgive me if maybe this question was asked or if you've answered it. But, there's a lot of chatter about Blueprint's elimination, winning by the slimmest of margins. Obviously, what was your assessment of it? And what are your thoughts to all the chatter? Because to me, it looked like he had a bit more to offer, but I'm curious to hear yours and, Ronnie's thoughts on that.
I said, we talked about it after Ronnie said, if you watch the pace out, like he paces right with Prince Hal then, and they go around the turn together, and like neither had an advantage. But, Ronnie said, don't worry, I had plenty left. We were both surprised that David could get the horse backed out of the hole that quick and fired up and get going that quick. But, I was standing right at the finish line. There was never a doubt in my mind that he was winning the race. I could see him surging as David started to come on. And at 3 steps later, he was in full gear again. So, that horse is a good horse. Honestly, I thought that was the best horse to beat in the race, coming into the race, the toughest horse. And now with him drawing 9, it's going to take a great effort from him because, I can't see him going back to 10th and getting the job done. He's going to have to be aggressive and go forward. And I think there's a lot of people looking to do the same thing.
Ronnie, switching gears here quickly before we let you go. Rodeo Drive Deo in the fan. I know you like this filly. Bad draw, but I know you like her and capable of being competitive here, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, that's what when you screw up in the elimination and you have to, back your way in, you get the 10-hole. She's way better than that. If you look at all our lines prior to that, she's never threw a bad one in. She just got crooked for a second. We looked her over, did a little vet work. We'll change the rigging a little bit. Now we're the same thing. From the 10-hole, you got to make a miracle happen. So,
for being with us. Thank you for dealing with some technical difficulties, and we appreciate your time as always. We're going to wish you the best of luck, and I'm sure we'll be talking about Blueprint and Swingtown much more throughout the racing season. John and I will be right back with trainer Nancy Takter.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
$1 million Pepsi North America Cup final. Can't cheer for them all, or can you? It's a great one. Here we go. Sprint is on with $1 million on the line. Captain's quarters leads the way. Here comes Nijinsky breathing fire. Drawn clear. Nijinsky. The Pepsi North America Cup in 1:48.1, a perfect second over Trip, and Waugh parlays it into $1 million score.
Ever dream of owning your own racehorse? How would you like to get in the winner's circle? With the #1 harness racing partnership in the U.S., VIP Stable. There's nothing like the thrill of your horse coming down the stretch. To find out more, call VIP Stable at 877-VIP-WIN1 or visit us on the web at www.vipstable.com. Turning horse racing fans into racehorse owners. Be a winner.
You just get 500 day, everybody get 500 down, everybody get 500. Get to the line.
The 2024 Harrisburg mixed sales shattered records with over $31 million in gross sales and a new all-time average of nearly
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the harnessracing.com preview show. Coming to you from Columbus, Ohio. We've had guests throughout the night, throughout the day here, I should say, as it's still early evening. Of course, we're joined by John Rallis up there from Woodbine Mohawk Park. We've had trainer Ron Burke on, Mark McCalvey with some handicapping options. And now we're going to bring in trainer Nancy Takter. Nancy? Hi, Nancy. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. We're having technical difficulties, but we're getting through it and we're having fun and we're giving out good information. We just had a guy by the name of Ron Burke. You know him, right, Nancy? Now he's trying to not make your three cup dreams not happen this weekend, and I don't know. I think he's. Oh, there you are. Hello, Nancy. Of course, you're joined by myself and John Rallis. John, can we hear Nancy? John,
I can hear her perfect.
I can't hear
Okay, John, I'm
I
going to
can
let
hear you, Wendy.
You can hear me, but you can't hear John. Well, that's okay. So, Nancy, good to see you. Are you at home in New Jersey? Or are you in Canada?
I am home in New Jersey.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking time. We know this is a busy week for you. We know North America Cup Week is special to you. In search of your third going into Saturday. No pressure, right?
No, I mean, I guess there's always a little bit of pressure in big races because obviously you want to do really well, but I don't really think of it as, trying to get my third or anything like that. I'm just, here to make sure my horse is as prepared as possible for Saturday, and hopefully he shows up and does what I think he can do.
Now let's go back to the spring when we caught up with you at the farm in New Jersey in April. You had Captain Optimistic. You had a look in your eye about this colt, and I've seen that look a couple times. You love this colt. You think you're very, very confident with him, and I think you said when he's set up, he's going to have a big year. No surprise for you probably to be in that final on Saturday.
No, I was really optimistic, no pun intended, on his chances for the entire year. I really like how he ended his 2-year-old season. He's a big, strong colt. He's great gaited. He gives you everything that he has every time he goes on the racetrack. So, there was just a lot of good things to think about him coming into the 3-year-old year. And, hopefully Saturday is a good day for him. And I think that it should be. And hopefully he does really well.
Now, when you go into an elimination, one thing I can say when I take away from how he raced, I don't think that's the trip we really want, but man, he raced really good, super gritty for Dexter.
I like him off the pace. I think he actually races a little bit better with a target. Not saying that he can't do it on the front. I mean, he's won plenty of races on the front end too, but I do think that racing with a target is probably his stronger way of racing. But, sitting fifth and 57.5 or whatever they went is obviously a little nerve wracking because I do have a lot of respect for the other horses in the race. And, when you get a slow middle or a slow first half like that, obviously the horses on the front have a tactical advantage, but he's just such a good gritty colt. And, when Dex asked him to go, he just kept going the entire way.
Now, when you come out of an elimination like that, you always have to wonder, especially with those fractions, with such a slow half and coming such a big back half, you have to wonder, are we going to have enough left in the tank for the final? How does he seem? Have we lost?
I trained him a little bit yesterday and he was, are you having?
Yeah,
I trained him a little bit yesterday and he was, okay. He came out of the race great. I trained him a little bit yesterday and he's definitely feeling good about himself, really confident, letting everybody know, that he was very happy when he came home on Sunday night, letting everybody know that what he had done this weekend. And he went back to Canada this morning. So, hopefully everything goes smoothly. And like I said, I think that he's going to have a big weekend.
Now, we had the draw on Monday. How did you feel after you drew the 6?
I like the 6. I know the 6 is generally a good post position to have at Mohawk. It gives Dex some options. He can go forward off the gate if he so chooses, or take him off the gate. Having a versatile colt like him is, obviously, makes Dex's job a little bit easier, so he can use more tactics. But, we got some of the bigger shots are, the better horses on the inside of us. So hopefully one of them can give us a good cover.
Now, one thing I'd like to think about when it comes to, let's talk about the Hambletonian in August. It's almost like a 5 to 6 month process leading up to that first Saturday in August, right? Now, as much as you've come to be so successful in the North America Cup, is it like that leading up to this second Saturday in June for you when it comes to the pacing colts, right? Is it the same as far as it's all set, like aim fire for this second weekend or third weekend in June?
I think it's a little bit actually different for the Pacers because the 3-year-old pacing colts have so many big races back to back to back, whereas the Hambletonian is kind of like the big one that you're aiming for with maybe some smaller stakes leading up to it. Whereas for the Pacers, you have the North America Cup, and then right piggybacking on that, you have the Meadowlands Pace, you have the Adios or the Cane Pace, and then you're like at jug time. So it's a little different, I think, with the 3-year-old colt Pacers, just because they have so many dances in a row, and it's a really tough schedule that we're expecting these horses to keep.
And knowing the confidence you had in this colt all the way back there in April tells you the type of colt that you think you have in your hands. Now let's go back in search of 3 on Saturday. Now I know you said that you weren't thinking about it that way. Looking back at the wins though with the prior 2 with Captain Crunch and Total Stranger, how were you feeling going into them? Kind of what you're going into, 5-6 years have passed since the first one there. And of course, Total Stranger was during COVID, so it was a little bit of a different vibe. But how are you feeling? How have you grown as a trainer over the last 5 or 6 years compared to winning the first one to now?
I think that, obviously when Captain Crunch won, it was really exciting. It was, the first time that I was really involved in something that huge with a horse that had such a big shot like he did. Unfortunately, he made a break in his elimination and, just barely made the final. So there was a little bit more excitement than I would have liked leading into the final because, there was some question as to why he made a break in the first turn and in his elimination. If it was something that we were just gonna, kind of disregard and just think it was a one-time thing, or if it was something that needed to be addressed during the week. So that was a little bit different. Obviously the longer you do this, the more confident you become in the calls that you make for yourself. So I think I'm probably a little bit more chill now than I was, going into it with Captain Crunch. I think people forget what a great performance Captain Crunch did in that North America Cup. He was used hard in the first half of the race, and he held off a gritty horse like Better's Wish. So, that was really special. I think it was a stakes track and Canadian record, and I think it's still actually the North America Cup record. So that was obviously really special, and it being my first North America Cup was obviously huge. And my parents owned a piece of Captain Crunch, and my dad, with his illustrious career that he had, he actually never won a North America Cup, so it actually gave me a one-up on him for something. So that was actually kind of fun too.
Speaking of Captain Crunch, before we move on to Tall Dark Stranger, talk about him. I know how special he was. One of my favorite photos is such a candid photo between your daughter Ella giving Captain Crunch a kiss right on his nose, like in the winner's circle. That was such a special moment. And heck, she's in college now, so time has just flown right by, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's flown by. Ella picked out Captain Crunch as a baby at the sale. I don't know. She must be lucky because the only horse she's ever owned is Champagne Problems. Is pretty good too. So, but she picked him up. She actually was forced to go to Harrisburg with me that day, and she wasn't really happy about it. And she kind of wandered off a little bit, and she was like, "Mom, you have to buy this horse." And she left that night to go back to school on the Monday. And the last thing she said to me was, "Mom, you have to buy that horse." And I was like, oh God, I had that feeling like, oh my God, I actually have to buy this horse. So I actually bid on him and purchased him and didn't even have a group put together. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm listening to my daughter who's just a kid, but she obviously was right. She must have had some good feelings about it. So, but yeah, time does fly. It's been a good ride.
And then, of course, Tall Dark Stranger, just one of those colts that was just that year. It was sad that it was during COVID, but he was one of the toughest colts that we've seen maybe ever. I mean, his determination when win was second to none.
Yeah, he definitely figured out very early, what the whole purpose of racing was, and that it was to finish first. That North America Cup for me is very strange because, I mean, I never in a million years would have imagined that I was going to have my horses stabled in Buffalo and that Doyle was going to pick them up and ship them across the border to Yosert, who had been quarantining for 2 weeks to race them up there. And, Yannick was in quarantine and I didn't get to go. And I remember watching that race. I was actually at Brett and Stacey Miller's house, and we had it on in the kitchen because I had been racing at Meadows and was driving to Lexington for racing the next day. So stayed over at her house that night, and we're watching the race in their kitchen on their TV, and I'm just like pacing back and forth. And they're like, "Can you just get a drink and sit down? There is nothing you can do." And I was just like, "Oh my God, this is completely out of my hands." But the horse raced so good. I mean, he was such a tough horse. And I always say that, like, it's so sad that it was during COVID because people really didn't get to experience, how great he was. It makes me actually kind of sad for the horse because he was just such a great, great racehorse.
Well, let's hope you have a great experience on Saturday. We wish you the best of luck with Captain Optimistic, who starts from post 6 for you. Nancy, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. And we're going to hope good things for you on Saturday. Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Thanks.
Back Farm of Ontario is home to outstanding sires, including a 3-time millionaire pacer tattoo artist who is new in 2025, the last great son of the legendary Some Beach Somewhere and multiple stakes champion Beach Glass.
Okay, are we going to talk about Twitter polls? Are we going to talk about the fun facts? Do we got that at least? Can we? Oh, okay, and we're back.
Ontario Sire Stakes champion Lawless Shadow and the richest pacing stallion in all of harness racing history, the great Hall of Famer Mick Wicked. Also standing at Winbank Farm, Archangel, Better Than Cheddar, Betting Line, My MVP in Trixton. For more information, visit winbankfarm.com.
We are athletes. We are drivers. We are caretakers. We are owners. We are trainers. We are fans. We are harness racing.
Hello, everyone. Wendy Ross. Welcome back to the HarnessRacing.com preview show. Coming to you, I'm in Columbus, Ohio. We've had guests spread out. John Rallis we were so grateful to have him with us from Woodbine Mohawk Park. Of course, we just heard from trainer Nancy Takter, who has Captain Optimistic from post 6 in the $1 million Pepsi North America Cup final, and trainer Ron Burke, who sends out race favorite Lou Print, 7-5 Morning Line, and of course Swingtown from post 4. In post 7, we had some Twitter polls, or I should say X polls, that we did throughout the week here. Who was your favorite North America Cup winner? Now, if you watched the show, you kind of got a good vibe for who everyone was going to say. The candidates were Some Beach Somewhere, Captain Treacherous, It's My Show, or other. And clear winner was Some Beach Somewhere by 73%, and I couldn't agree more. If you watched the replay that we had on the screen earlier, it was a dominant effort by Paul McNamara, and of course, Some Beach Somewhere. And the next one was, who do you think will win the North America Cup this year, 2025 edition? The horses were Lou Print, Captain Optimistic, Light Up the World, or other. And there you have it. The 7-5 Morning Line favorite, Lou Print, is the clear X vote. Everyone says Lou Print. And his big blaze face, as you're going to see him on the track, he's got a lot of white on him, just like his dad, Sweet Lou. So Lou Print is the clear candidate that everyone thinks can win the 42nd edition of the Pepsi North America Cup. $1 million on the line. We want to thank all of our guests for being with us here today. Please excuse our technical difficulties. Trying to bring everyone in from everywhere. It can be a little hectic, but we've had some fun, and we hope that you've had a good time watching us and you've learned a lot of good information. Lots of ways to watch and wager up there at Woodbine Mohawk Park up there in Canada for all the races. Like we said, we have the Fan Hanover, the Good Times, the Roses Are Red, the Mohawk Gold Cup coming your way, and of course that $1 million Pepsi North America Cup final. Lots of great races for you to watch. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.